The stars had always been a mystery to me, distant pinpricks of light that seemed untouchable, eternal. As a pilot and explorer for the United Earth Fleet, I had traversed asteroid belts, navigated collapsing wormholes, and faced hostile alien patrols. But nothing could have prepared me for the moment I heard the distress signal from the outskirts of the Clythian Nebula, a signal unlike any human transmission. The signal was faint, fractured, and seemingly desperate. It pulsed with an urgency that penetrated the layers of my training, igniting a mixture of fear and resolve. By the time I located its source, I realized I had entered a system not mapped by any human chart. Here, planets glimmered with unnatural colors, and moons rotated in chaotic orbits, as if mocking the precision of physics itself. The distress signal emanated from a planet cloaked in iridescent mist. Its surface shimmered with violet sands, and colossal towers rose like frozen spires from the landscape. As I descended to the turbulent atmosphere, my sensors detected movement. Creatures unlike any I had catalogued, humanoid but with elongated limbs and bioluminescent skin that flickered with emotion. And there, in the center of the largest city, I saw her. A young alien woman was surrounded by a group of armed predators, her eyes wide with fear. Despite her apparent vulnerability, she radiated a strange authority, a presence that seemed to bend the creatures around her into hesitancy. My heart froze for a moment, then instinct took over. I maneuvered my ship close, firing a precision pulse that disintegrated the nearest attacker. They scattered, giving her a chance to escape, and I reached her just as she tripped over the glowing sands. "Are you human?" she whispered, her voice like liquid silver. "Yes," I said, offer my hand. "I'm here to help." She hesitated, then took it, her touch sending a strange shiver down my spine. I hoisted her into my ship just as the city erupted behind us. The attackers pursued, but my experience in evasive maneuvers served me well. We escaped the planet's atmosphere, hurtling toward open space. As the city disappeared into the mist below, she finally introduced herself. "I am Lysera, daughter of Queen Veolora of the Zhyarkai. You have saved my life." I didn't know what to say. My mind raced. An entire alien civilization, and I had just pulled a princess out of the battle zone. It was nothing, I muttered, though sweat beaded my brow. Lysera studied me intently, her eyes shimmering with something I couldn't name. It was everything. "Without you, I would have perished. You must understand, saving me is not a trivial matter in our culture." Her words unsettled me. I had rescued many in my time, soldiers, civilians, but this felt different. Her voice, the urgency in her eyes, and the memory of the creatures chasing her all merged into a singular reality. I had entered a world far more dangerous than I could have imagined. Before I could process further, Lysera's hand gripped my arm tightly. "You must come with me. My mother will want me to human, who saved her daughter." The journey to the Zhyarkai homeworld was tense. I was unarmed save for my basic survival gear, and every passing nebula and asteroid field reminded me that I was a stranger in a universe I barely understood. Lysera, however, seemed unfazed, guiding me with confidence that suggested she had navigated these stars countless times. When we finally approached her planet, a colossal jewel suspended in darkness, I was struck speechless. The surface glowed with an inner light, and the city below sparkled like a constellation fallen to the ground. Ships of iridescent metal hovered in formation, An enormous structure spiraled into the sky, defying logic and gravity. Upon landing, we were immediately escorted through the city by guards who recognized Lysra and bowed deeply as we passed. I felt their gazes, curious, wary, and at times hostile. It became clear that humans were an anomaly here, and my presence was as much a threat as a fascination. Finally, we arrived at the palace, a structure that defied every architectural principle I had ever learned. Towers intertwined like organic growths, pulsating with light that seemed almost alive. And there, on a throne of crystalline spires, sat Queen Veilora. Her presence was formidable, her eyes pools of shifting colors that seemed to see through to my very soul. "You are the human who saved Lysra," she said, her voice resonating with power that vibrated through the walls. I bowed instinctively. "Yes, Your Majesty. It was... I only did what anyone would do." Veelora's gaze didn't waver. In our world, risking your life for another is a bond beyond simple gratitude. You have demonstrated courage, honor, and worthiness. I swallowed hard, unsure what she meant. "I thank you." She rose from her throne, moving with a grace that belied her size. "For saving my daughter, I claim you as my own." The word struck me like a meteor. My mind froze. Claim me? What does that even mean? Veelora's eyes softened slightly. In ZHYRK tradition, when one saves a member of the royal line, the queen has a right to bind that savior to her house. You are now under my protection and under my authority. I struggled to comprehend. Authority? But I'm a human. I have my own world, my own life. You have chosen bravery over indifference, she said, almost gently. In doing so, you have intertwined your fate with ours. There is no returning from this path. Lysra stepped forward, placing her hand on my arm. Father always said that humans are unpredictable. Perhaps that is why you are so remarkable. Father, I asked, confused. Lysra's father is not this world, Veilora explained. He passed beyond the stars long ago. I raised her alone, and now you have entered her life and ours in a way that cannot be undone. The days that followed were surreal. I was treated as a guest of honor, yet constantly reminded of my bond to the Queen. I learned their language, their customs, and the intricacies of ZHYRK politics. I discovered that Lysra City was not just a capital. It was a hub for interstellar diplomacy, a place where alien civilizations negotiated, allied, and occasionally warred. Every encounter deepened my understanding of their world and my unease. Being claimed by the Queen was not a mere formality. It was a lifelong bond that carried both privileges and responsibilities. I found myself walking a thin line between freedom and obligation, all while trying to process the intensity of the feelings that Lysra stirred within me. She was no longer just a princess. She was my guide, my companion, and at times my tormentor, for her presence made the impossible seem mundane, her laughter, her insight, her quiet strength. Yet I also understood the gravity of her mother's words. I was now a part of something far larger than myself, entangled in a civilization that could either elevate or destroy me. Then came the trial. Veilora summoned me to Hall of Decisions, a vast chamber carved into the heart of the planet, lit by pulsating crystals that responded to thought and emotion. I stood before the Queen as her advisors, and diplomats watched in silence. To solidify your bond to our house, Veilora intoned, you must prove your loyalty and strength. You will face 3 challenges of mind, courage, and compassion. Only then will your place in the ZHYRK realm be secure. The first trial tested intellect. I was faced with an ancient ZHYRK puzzle, a labyrinthine construct of shifting walls and holographic illusions designed to test strategy and insight. Hours passed, and I navigated it by relying on pattern recognition, intuition, and occasional luck. When I finally emerged, Lysera's approving gaze met mine, and I felt a surge of relief. The second trial was courage. I was placed on a platform suspended above a chasm where the air shimmered with toxic energy. I had to retrieve an artifact guarded by a creature of living shadow. My human instinct screamed to flee, but remembering the moment I saved Lysera, I pressed forward. The creature lunged, but my quick reflexes and careful observation allowed me to outmaneuver it. I returned to the artifact, feeling an exhilaration I had never known. The final trial was compassion. I was confronted with visions of suffering across the ZHYRK realm. Worlds in turmoil, families torn apart by conflict, and innocent lives in danger. I had to make choices that would alleviate pain, often at personal cost. Each decision weighed heavily on me, yet I acted with sincerity, prioritizing empathy over self-interest. When I completed the final trial, Vea Laura rose from her throne. "You have proven yourself," she declared. "You have faced the trials of mind, courage, and compassion. You are worthy of our bond." Lysera's eyes glimmered, pride and relief mingling within them. I felt a strange sense of peace settle over me. My journey, which had begun with a single act of rescue, had led me to this moment, an improbable connection between human and alien, forged in bravery and choice. Vea Laura extended her hand. "From this day forward, you are part of the ZHYRK. Your loyalty is to our house, and your life is entwined with ours. Know that to be claimed is not to be imprisoned. It is to belong." I took her hand, feeling the weight of her authority, but also a profound sense of honor. "I accept," I said. Lysera stepped closer, her hand brushing mine. "You have changed everything," she whispered. And in that moment, I understood. I had entered a world of stars and danger, and through a single act of courage, I had found a place not just in an alien civilization, but in a story far greater than I had ever imagined. For saving Lysera, I had gained more than gratitude. I had gained a home, a purpose, and perhaps love that spanned the universe. As the twin moons of the ZHYRK rose above the crystalline spires, I looked at the Queen, at Lysera, and at the vast expanse of possibilities before me. The stars were no longer distant. They were ours to navigate together. And so, in saving one life, I had changed countless destinies.